Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to be going over how to play Everlong by the Foo Fighters, which is one of their best songs ever. I love this song. So let's break it down into 3 simple parts and dive right in. I know it's a little bit messy today. I am moving today, and so everything's a little bit crazy. First things first, for this song, to play Everlong, you need your guitar to be in drop D tuning, which means you take your low E string and you have to drop it down to a D. That's what tuning we're gonna be in today, which is my favorite tuning for beginners anyway. Now this song breaks down into 3 simple parts, and so let's start with the first one. This is how to play the verse, and this gets played most of the song, and it's actually really simple. It makes up 3 chords, and you only need your first finger and third finger to do this whole thing. So here's how we're gonna start. We're gonna start with your open 6th string. Then you're gonna take your first finger and put it on the 9th fret of your 5th string. And then your third finger is gonna play the 11th fret on your 4th string. So it's basically like you're playing a power chord on 9 and 11, but then you have that open D string as well. That is how the song starts. Now, what Dave does when he plays this on the guitar is he thinks like a drummer. And so he's hitting the low string and then hitting the 2 higher strings and treating that kind of like hitting the snare on a drum set. So you'll hear the different accents with this happening. Right? And so the pattern for this, we can get all complicated with the rhythm and stuff. But what I want you to do is I want you to listen for those accents. He's only playing 8th notes here. So we're just going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But it's listening for the different accents and getting the 1. So to really get that down, you're going to have to listen to the song. You're going to have to pay attention to those different accents and when they're happening and do your best to imitate it. Now, if you want it broken down note for note, I do have a tab of this song for you. Go to simpleguitar.com/Everlong. There you can download the tab for this of exactly what we're going over today, and it lays out the whole rhythm so you can make sure, oh, I'm getting that on 2 and then 3 and then the and a 4 and whatever else. Now let's go on with our verse. So our first chord is that. The second chord that we're going to play is exactly the same, except you're going to take your first finger and lay it flat across the 9th fret on your 6th string as well. So now we're playing 9 on the 6th string, 9 on the 5th string, and then your third finger is still on 11 on your 4th string, so you get this. And then for the third chord, what we're going to do is we're going to scoot that down to 5 and 7. And then we're going to scoot it back up to 9 and 11. Now those are the chords for the whole verse part. Now the way that this happens is the way that Dave plays this chord progression is actually really cool, because most people would just play the chords the same length and it's all the same thing, right? But he actually breaks it up and does it differently. So the first chord, we're going to call this first chord D. He plays that for 2 measures. Then he goes to this second chord, which we're going to call B, and he plays that for 2 measures. But then the third chord, we're going to call that one G. He plays that for 1 measure before going back up to B for 2 measures. And so it's weird because this is a 7 measure pattern instead of what most people would play as an 8 measure pattern. And so that's one of the cool things about why this sounds cool, is because it's a little bit different from what you would expect. And so all together, I'm going to play just one time through what the verse part is, because this gets used, like you play this 8 times in a row before we ever get to the pre-chorus. So let's dive into it, and this is how the verse goes. And then that just repeats. Like I said, that makes up the intro, it makes up the first verse, the second verse, the interlude. It gets used a lot throughout the song, so get really comfortable with that. The hardest thing about this is playing it at full speed with just downstrokes and just going. Because it's a pretty quick song. So what I tend to do is when it's just the guitar by itself, like in the intro and later on in the bridge and in the interludes, I tend to do downstrokes just for that. But then usually over the verses when they're singing, I'm just going down, up, down, up, down, up. Bonus part. Okay, so check this out. On top of that happening with the rhythm guitar stuff, there's this cool lead guitar part that comes in. I'm going to show that to you really, really quick. It's actually really simple. What you're going to do is you're going to have your third finger on 11 on your fourth string and put your first finger on 9 on your third string, and you're going to play that. And I just used my pinky to catch 11 on the third string. So the rhythm on that is just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you continue that through the first two chords. So you'll have. And then when it changes to G and we come down here, you're going to do 7 on your fourth string. And instead of 5, you're going to do 6 on your third string. And then you're going to hammer on, you're going to briefly play 7 and release it back on your third string. So you'll get. And then you go back up to 9 and 11. So together you're going to get this. Okay, so now that's the verse. Let's go into the pre-chorus. The pre-chorus is where we finally play something a little bit different. And what we're going to do here is we're going to use octaves. Now, octaves are awesome. And if you've never played octaves before, they're like a power chord, except you skip a string. So, for example, the first octave that we're going to play here is going to be with your first finger on the 4th fret of your 5th string, and then your third finger is going to skip over to the 6th fret of your 3rd string. And the way that this is tabbed out, a lot of people will tab this out with your open D string, and then your other D string open as well. And so as you're doing these octaves, usually with an octave, your first finger will lay back a little bit and like touch the string in between your fingers so that we don't hear that D string. So that way if you want to only hear 2 strings, that's all you're doing is you're just muting the string in between that so we don't hear a sound that we don't want to hear. But in this song, we do want to have our open low D string. And if you can figure it out with your fingers to get your other D string, your 4th string to ring out, that's cool too, whatever you want to do. But we're going to play this octave, and it's called an octave because they're the same notes. So we're playing, for example, a C sharp note right here and a C sharp note right here, but they are an octave apart from each other. So one is 12 half steps higher than the other one. That's what an octave means. It's a distance between 2 notes. What we're going to do in the pre-chorus is we're going to take this octave and we're going to play that at 4 and 6, and we're going to play it 3 times. So the easiest way to do this is to go down, up, down. But you got to make sure that the only strings we hear are the open D string, your 5th string, and your 3rd string. We don't want to hear the 4th string, the 2nd string, the 1st string. So you got to lay your finger kind of flat to make sure that it just touches mutes all the other strings that we don't want to hear right now. And so we're going to play that 3 times, going down, up, down. And then we're going to slide up 1 fret to 5 and 7 and play that. But since we just played down, we're going to play up, down, up. And then slide up to 7 and 9 and play down, up, down. and then slide up to 9 and 11 and play up, down, up. And then the last three, we're going to go 9, then slide up to 10 and 12, and then up to 12 and 14. So it's going to be really quick because then you have to go. And then on the very last note of the measure, which is the and of 4, we're going to change to playing a power chord on the 7th fret of your 4th, 5th, and 6th strings. And so that power chord is going to get its own measure. We're going to play it on the and of 4 and hold it out through the next measure. And then we're going to start that pattern over again and go 4 and 6, 5 and 7, 7, 9, 9, 11, and then 9, 10, 12, and then down to 7. That's a really quick jump. So if that's something that you need to isolate and practice going, do it really slow and get it smooth so that you can get the fundamental motions down so that it's a lot easier once you get it down. Now here's the trick. We're going to play that twice, and then the third time that we play it, we're going to go to the 9th fret instead of to the 7th fret, and that's where we go into the chorus. So really quick, let me play through the pre-chorus for you so you can hear how it sounds all together, and I'll end it on that first chord that we jump into the chorus with. Now you'll notice when I'm playing these power chords, sometimes I'm throwing down my 3rd finger on the 3rd string and my pinky on the 2nd string. And that's just to get a more full sound. It's still a power chord because we haven't put the 3rd note of the chord into it yet, so it's still all just 2 notes. And so that way, it just sounds fuller and nice and beautiful. It's nice. Anyway. So now let's go into the chorus. So for the chorus, what we're going to do is we have power chords, straight power chords. That's all we're doing. We're playing your 9th fret on your 4th, 5th, and 6th string. These are all drop D power chords. So 9th fret, 5th fret, and then open. And that repeats. But the cool thing about this chord progression is we're playing each of those for 2 measures, but we make our change on the and of 4. And that is what makes it feel like it skips and moves forward ahead and keeps it moving. That gives the music some momentum by changing half a beat early. So what we're going to do is we're going to play our 9th fret, which is a B. We're going to play that for 1 measure, and then we're going to change to G at the 5th fret for 1 measure, and then we're going to do our open D for 2 measures. But the 3rd time that we play it, we're going to add in your 7th fret with an A for a measure, and then we're going to drop down to your G for your 5th fret, and we're going to play that for 2 more measures before we go into playing the verse again. So all together, the chorus is going to sound like this. That's the chorus. Now, here's the cool thing about this song. That's it. There's just the verse, there's the pre-chorus, and there's the chorus. Because the bridge, what happens is we go back to playing the verse part, and it's isolated and it's clean. And then it builds and it builds and builds, and we end up playing the chorus part, but we repeat it without doing the 7th fret. So we just go. And then we go into the final chorus. And guys, that's essentially the whole song. Once you get down the basic fundamentals of the song of playing the verse, playing the pre-chorus, playing the chorus, then it's just repeating it and putting it in order. And this is the order. We're going to play the intro, then we're going to play the first verse, then we're going to have a little interlude, and then the second verse. Then we get into the pre-chorus. Then we're going to play the first chorus, have a small interlude, then we have the third verse, and then we go into the pre-chorus, and then the chorus, and there we jump into the bridge, which is still just the verse, and then we have the pre-chorus part without the 7th fret in it, and then we go into the final chorus. That's the whole song. So let's go ahead and play it with the music so that you can practice and see me playing it along with the song, and this way you can practice with it. You can use the controls here on YouTube to slow it down if you need to, but let's dive into playing it with the song. So guys, that is it. That is Everlong by the Foo Fighters. 3 simple sections, the verse, the pre-chorus, and the chorus. And that is all that makes up the song. So go have fun with that. I hope that was a lot of fun for you. If you have questions, do let me know down in the comments below. Now, if you want to play some more Foo Fighters songs, I have another great one where we did Shame, Shame off of their latest album, Medicine at Midnight. So if you want to go check out that video on how to play Shame, Shame by the Foo Fighters, it's even easier, and it's quite a bit easier than Everlong. It's probably the easiest Foo Fighters song that they've ever done. So go check out how to play Shame, Shame. Have fun with that. Have fun with Everlong. And thanks a ton for watching today and liking and commenting and all that stuff. You guys are awesome. Have an awesome, happy new year. And I will catch you guys in the next video of Playing Shame, Shame.